The rook is a long-range piece, same as the bishop and as the queen. And for the rook, there is a minimum distance that she needs to be as effective as it can possibly be. And what is the distance? Well, we will learn that today in this video. Now, let's look at this position. Here, the black king is really far from the action. And even if white has a pawn against a rook, the rook won't be able to do much to stop this pawn, with the help of the king, of course. If we manage to push the pawn to the 7th rank with our king, helping us to get there, well, this will be obviously a draw because black will have to give his rook for the pawn. So let's see what happens here. It's white to play, and of course if I just push the pawn forward, black will take it. So let's see if I can help the pawn with my king. The king moves forward, and my threat is to push the pawn and then come with the king to help. So best we can do as black probably is to give check to try to delay our idea, but it's pretty evident that after few more moves, white will be able to start pushing the pawn forward. And also is, I hope, easy to understand that this will end in a draw. Okay. Now, here, the rook could not fight against the advance of the pawn with the help of the king because the lack of distance. She had only, 2 squares of separation from the pawn. Now let's look at the next example. Let's try to do the same here as white. Let's try to push the pawn forward. Let's move the king. Well, again, if I do nothing with black, white will just push the pawn and we will have the same situation as before, more or less. So let's see if, in this case, 3 squares of separation are enough. Check. Okay, the king has to move somewhere, let's say here, so we threaten to push the pawn. Well, check. Oh, check, no, sorry. Attack against the pawn, check against the pawn. Okay, king c5, and again we give a check. Well, to go to d5 didn't help. What about d6? Again, attack against the pawn. Okay, we have to protect it. Check. Well, to go to d6 and d5 did not work. What about b5? Right now I am not pushing the pawn, but still I could just keep annoying the white king. Here, the threat is b5. Check. Well, to go here didn't work. What about here? Check. I guess by now you can see that this is not working for white. Once the white king goes far from the pawn, I will attack it, and once you defend it, I will give you check. And the point is that I won't be able to advance the pawn. Well, I hope you can see the difference now. In this example, the distance was 2 squares, and the rook could not effectively fight against the king and the pawn. But in this position, in this one, the pawn is separated by 3 squares from the pawn, so it will work at its best potential, or close to it at least. So this is it. This is the effective distance concept in the Rook's Endgame. Only works, as far as I know, for rooks. For the queen and for the bishop, we don't have a similar idea that I know, but for the rook certainly, 3 squares is the minimum distance that you need so the rook is at its maximum potential. Okay, remember this idea. It will be useful in many rook endgames that we will see in the future, and it doesn't hurt to remember that the rook, same as the queen as the bishop, are long distance pieces that usually feel best when they attack from far as possible their targets. And that's it for this video. Okay, my friends, thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned something useful today and see you next time. Good luck.